Želim da se zahvalim u ime našeg bratstva što ste se odazvali u ovolikom broju na još jedno predavanje. Gost je gospodin Klaus i učinio nam je veliku čast što je posjetio naš manastir i što će održati predavanje. Mr. Klaus, thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you here today and we hope to have a great speech from you today. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
I have nothing to say.
Nemam ništa da vam kažem.
I could just say the Holy Spirit gives something which is good for you.
Sveti Duh daje nešto što je dobro za vas.
So maybe first part I will tell you why I am Orthodox.
U prvom dijelu ću vam reći zbog čega sam ja pravoslavac.
And maybe then I will tell you what Orthodoxy is for me.
A u drugom dijelu ću vam reći šta je pravoslavlje za mene.
I've been traveling the last 40 years around the Orthodox world.
Zadnjih 40 godina sam putovao širom pravoslavnog svijeta.
And I found that there are two types of Orthodoxy.
I pronašao sam da postoje dvije vrste pravoslavlja.
Like we had last Sunday or the Sunday before, the prodigal son.
Da, prošle nedelje smo imali bludnog sina.
The one brother went into drugs and into pornography and in all this bad life.
Jedan brat je upao u drogu, pornografiju i u loš stil života.
And the other guy, he stayed at home with the father.
A drugi je ostao kući sa ocem.
You know the story.
Svi znate tu priču.
And some people asked, what? You know, the father got in his arms when the prodigal son came back.
Otac je zagrlio bludnog sina kad se vratio kući.
And the other, they asked, what did he do in the end?
A drugi je pitao šta je on na kraju uradio.
Because he was jealous.
Zbog toga što je bio ljubomoran.
Of his brother. He had a good life, he had a bad life, he spent all the money, and now you give the big calf, you know, for this bad guy. And for me you give nothing.
Pitao je zbog čega ti spremaš takav doček, zbog čega spremaš tele za sina koji je proveo život u bludničenju, a meni ne spremaš ništa koji sam bio tu pored tebe.
And so the people asked, they asked, I have a spiritual father.
Ljudi me pitaju da li imam duhovnika.
You know, I became Orthodox through Saint Sophrony.
Postao sam pravoslavac zahvaljujući ocu Sophrony.
And his follower is not yet, Zacharias in Essex near London.
I zahvaljujući budućem svecu Zahariju.
And they give Sundays normally talks also with Zoom.
Da, oni imaju nedeljom službe i govore uz pomoću aplikacije Zoom.
So they asked him, the other brother who stayed with the father, how did he end up? What did he do with the father?
I pitali su ga šta se na kraju desilo sa sinom koji je ostao, koji nije otišao od kuće.
And so that's the other Orthodox.
To je druga strana pravoslavlja.
And they said, he killed the father.
Ubio je svog oca.
Because these were the Jews.
Jer je bio Jevrej.
We keep the law, we keep the rules, and with the rules they killed Jesus. And that's what the other brother did.
Jer oni gledaju usko na pravoslavlje, prate samo pravila i oni su zbog pravila ubili Hristos.
I've had many talks in Serbia and Montenegro already.
Održao sam mnogo govora u Srbiji i Crnoj Gori.
And once I was in an area behind boudoir somewhere in a place. There were Orthodox fanatics.
U jednom dijelu kod Budve postojali su pravoslavni fanatici.
And they wanted to stop me to speak.
I željeli su da prestane,
They said,
da govorim.
you, but they had a lot of sliva already.
Govorili su ti, ali već su bili poprilično pijani.
You stupid German, you will tell us about Orthodoxy? Who are you? You have had Hitler, German. You cannot talk us about Orthodoxy.
Ko je neki glupi Njemac koji je izrodio Hitlera da nama govori o pravoslavlju?
They became violent. They wanted to take me out.
Postali su nasilni i htjeli su da ga prebiju.
They would have been ready to kill me.
Bili su spremni da ga ubiju.
You see, we have two Orthodox people.
Postoje dvije vrste pravoslavaca.
And I will tell you why I'm Orthodox now and through Saint Sophrony. Why?
I reći ću vam zbog čega sam ja pravoslavac kroz oca Sofronija.
But first of all, I was born as a Catholic, Roman Catholic boy.
Prije svega ja sam rođen kao rimokatolik.
The problem was that I didn't have a family to teach me faith.
Problem je bio u tome što ja nisam imao porodicu koja bi me naučila vjeri.
The father was divorced.
Otac je bio razveden, otac i
The
majka su
mother
bili...
was an artist woman.
Majka je bila umjetnik.
And, well, she didn't have faith.
I ona nije imala vjere u sebi.
And I was difficult because my mother didn't have love for me. I never felt love.
Nikad se nisam osjećao voljenim, jer moja majka nije imala ljubavi zbog mene i zbog toga sam bio problematično dijete.
So, you know, when you have children, when the children are not obedient,
kada djeca nisu poslušna, mi ih prebijemo.
So I was beaten.
I ja sam bio.
And I defended.
Branio sam se.
So I had problems from the very beginning.
Od samog početka sam imao probleme.
First of all, I should die from hunger.
Prije svega trebalo je da umrem od gladi.
I was born in 1945.
Rođen sam
when the Russian Red Army invaded Germany.
Please continue, please.
And so there was hunger and machine gun. So 2 times I survived already.
Rođen sam 1945. kada je Crvena armija ušla u Berlin. Bio je rat na sve strane i već je trebalo da umrem 2 puta od gladi i od rata.
And my own mother told me once she was ready to gas me, to kill me with gas also, because I was a problem for her and she was a problem for me.
Majka mu jedne prilike rekla da je spremna da ga ubije gas.
When I grew older, my mother couldn't stand me anymore, and she gave me away.
Kad sam odrastao, moja majka više nije mogla da me podnese i dala me. Poslala me od kuće.
She got the offer from a Roman Catholic priest to take care of me.
Dobila je ponudu od rimokatoličkog sveštenika da me preuzme kod sebe.
So the problem is the Roman Catholic priests are not allowed to marry.
Problem je u tome što rimokatolički sveštenici nije im dozvoljeno da se vjenčaju.
So many of them become, I don't know, homosexual and abuse of children.
I mnogi od njih postanu homoseksualci i zlostavljaju djecu.
It's not the only reason probably, but it's one of the reasons.
To nije jedini razlog, ali to je jedan od razloga.
So when I lived in the house of this priest, I was abused also.
I ja sam, kao i mnogi, dok sam živio u kući tog sveštenika, bio zlostavljan.
It lasted 7 years.
Tokom 7 godina.
I would call that today, that was my Christian apprenticeship.
On bi rekao da je to za njega bio pripravnički.
I could experience myself that is a priest, so this is Christianity.
On je kroz to vidio šta je hrišćanstvo, vidio je da je to hrišćanski sveštenik i da on predstavlja hrišćanstvo.
And only one thing grew in me, hatred and revenge.
I samo jedna stvar se razvijala u njemu, mržnja i osveta.
I will destroy the Christians when I have enough power, but I must have power first.
Odlučio je da će uništiti hrišćane kada bude imao dovoljno moći, ali prvo je trebalo da zadobije tu moć.
How can I become free from this hell?
Kako da se oslobodim ovog pakla?
I went to university. And during the studies, I discovered philosophy.
Otišao sam na univerzitet i tokom studiranja otkrio sam filozofiju.
Maybe in philosophy there is an answer, a key to freedom.
Nadao sam se da ću u filozofiji naći ključ za slobodu.
And philosophy is something interesting. Yes, it is interesting.
Filozofija jeste nešto zanimljivo.
I like one philosopher. It's a very famous one. Hitler liked him. Nietzsche is a very famous one.
Svidio mi se jedan filozof Nietzsche i njega je Hitler mnogo volio.
Because one of the main sayings of this philosopher is God is dead.
Jedna od glavnih izreka tog filozofa je Bog je mrtav.
And I think this is right. God is dead. That's what was my experience.
I on je to osjećao, da je Bog mrtav, da Bog ne postoji.
One day I saw a writing in the University of Hamburg on the walls. Somebody was writing, God is dead, in brackets underneath, Nietzsche.
I jednog dana je na univerzitetu vidio napisano Bog je mrtav u zagradi Nietzsche.
But after some time, I don't know, any student, he just crossed it out and he wrote over it, Nietzsche is dead, in brackets God.
Ali je jedan student prekrižao i napisao je Nietzsche je mrtav Bog.
So I thought, if this is philosophy, it is limited. It's not stupid, but it's limited.
I ja sam pomislio da ako je to filozofija, nije glupa, ali je ograničena.
Let me try. I have problems. I really have problems with psychology. Let me make a therapy. Go to an analyst.
I ja sam želio da odem kod nekog ko se razumije u psihologiju, kod nekog ko može da mi kaže šta nije u redu sa mnom.
So I did that for 1 year. And this guy explained everything.
I to sam radio godinu dana i taj čovjek mi je objasnio sve.
The priest is guilty, the mother is guilty, no family, no love.
Sve mi je rekao, porodica je kriva, majka je kriva, nisi imao ljubavi, sveštenik je kriv, svi su krivi.
But he didn't give me what I was looking for, respect and love.
Ali mi nije dao to što sam tražio, ljubav i poštovanje.
So I didn't want to have explanations, I wanted to need help. And there came no help, so I gave up.
Meni nisu bilo potrebno objašnjenja, nego bilo mi je potrebna pomoć.
Now at that time, I had some Turkish friends, because there were many Turkish Gastarbeiter in Hamburg, and they were nice people, they were Muslims.
U to vrijeme u Hamburgu je bilo mnogo ljudi iz Turske koji su tu radili i oni su bili fini i dobri ljudi.
So I thought maybe I change religion. I signed a paper, I'm not Catholic member anymore, and I will look something better in Islam.
Odlučio sam da promijenim religiju, potpisao sam papir i više nisam bio katolik, odlučio sam da pronađem sebe u islamu.
I was looking up in internet recently how many people in the Protestant and Catholic Church sign paper to quit the church every year.
Nedavno sam tražio na internetu da vidim koliko ljudi potpiše da prekine, da pređe iz katoličanstva i protestantizma da napusti, da.
Because of these scandals with children, it continues, it continues endlessly now even. 250,000 Catholics, 250,000 Protestants every year quit the church and become apostasy.
Svake godine, zbog svega što se i dalje dešava sa crkvom, 250.000 katolika i 250.000 protestanata svake godine napusti crkvu.
Where are my books? I want to show you the 2 books.
Trebaju nam knjige, 2 knjige. Just a second.
Yes,
please.
Because in my second book about God's idols and gurus, about religions,
u mojoj drugoj knjizi o guruima, idolima, o religiji,
I wrote a sentence that we are living in Western Europe in post-Christianity, post-Christianity.
Mi u zapadnoj Evropi živimo u post-hrišćanstvu.
And when I said this to my friend Father Sophroni, who is canonized now, Saint Sophroni, when I asked him to talk with him,
Kada sam to rekao ocu Sofroniju, koji je sada svetac, kanonizovan je,
he said, Klaus, Western Europe is not in post-Christianity. They're in pre-Christianity. They have never been Christians because the Catholics has never taught them real faith.
Otac Sofronij je rekao da oni nisu u post-hrišćanstvu, nego oni nikada nisu ni bili hrišćani, jer ih katolici nisu naučili pravoj vjeri.
Amazing phrase, isn't it?
I to je za njega bila sjajna rečenica.
Yeah, the second book. No, this is one you can get that afterwards, but this is not the book. This is the one of my life story.
Ovo je knjiga sa biografijom gospodina Klausa.
Duljevo Monastery. They get all the benefits, by the way, also. It's not my business. It's for Duljevo.
Manastir Duljevo dobija sve prihode od ovih knjiga, gospodin Klaus ne dobija ništa. Tako da kupovinom ove knjige pomažete manastir.
This book is translated in America and Russian in 15 languages around the world. So
knjiga je prevedena na engleski, na ruski i na još 15 drugih jezika.
And it's got the blessing of Saint Sophroni.
Ima blagoslov oca Sofronija, sveca Sofronija.
I cannot make business with it, but yes, business for God.
Ali gospodin Klaus pravi biznis za Gospoda.
Bring the second. The second, druga
knjiga, ne ova.
Druga.
Ovo je prva, jest.
He always brings the first one. Anyway, so I said then, okay, let me see, but not in Hamburg, but let me see in Morocco, in Turkey, in Afghanistan, in Iran, in Pakistan. I'll start to travel around the world. That was the beginning for a trip of 12 years. Where is God?
Gospodin Klaus je odlučio da ako Gospod Bog nije u Hamburgu, odlučio da ga potraži u Turskoj, u Pakistanu. To je bilo putovanje koje je trajalo 12 godina.
But this is the second
Ovo je
book
druga
about
knjiga.
religions, and you will understand then about. I will talk about what is yoga. Why do people yoga? They quit the church, and they go by the back door and start to do yoga. And they give up Christianity and go to superstition.
Gospodin Klaus u ovoj drugoj knjizi govori zbog čega ljudi napustaju hrišćanstvo i prelaze u jogu, prelaze u sujevjeri.
Like I did myself.
Kao što je i on uradio.
If you're not satisfied, why do people quit Orthodox Church? Exists in Greece, exists in many countries. They quit Orthodox Church. Why?
Zbog čega ljudi napustaju pravoslavlje u Grčkoj i drugim zemljama? Zbog čega?
You don't give up gold for metal, for plum or any cheap brass. Because they quit, because they don't know Orthodoxy.
Zlato se ne daje za neke lošije metale. Ljudi napuštaju pravoslavlje, koje je u ovom slučaju zlato, zbog toga što nisu spoznali pravoslavlje i zbog toga biraju jogu.
Like me, the priest was bad, so I give up Christianity.
Kao gospodin Klaus, zbog sveštenika koji je bio loš, napustio je hrišćanstvo.
It's like you say, I don't follow Jesus because his workers in his group he had Judas. Judas was with Jesus. So I don't want to follow Jesus because of Judas. There are Judases in the church, in all churches. But the church is still okay. Not all members are perfect.
Ne treba da napuštamo crkvu zbog jednog sveštenika, zbog jednog jude, jer juda ima suda, ali to ne predstavlja crkvu, crkva je u suštini dobra.
So most of the time when I lived in Iran and Afghanistan, I found that Islam is a copy of the Jewish religion. Somehow it's a copy, but a perverted copy.
Tokom života u Iranu otkrio sam da je Islam u stvari kopija Starog Zavjeta, ali loša kopija.
You see, in Islam, it's like Jewish. It's keep the law and you will go to paradise.
U Islamu kao u judaizmu je drže se pravila da ako pratiš zakon otići ćeš u raj, ako se držiš pravila.
There's nothing wrong. I mean, the law want to protect us. There's nothing wrong in it.
U tome nema ništa loše jer zakon pokušava da nas zaštiti, da nas sačuva.
But especially when I was in Pakistan, and you see, the fanatism, blind fanatism to kill everybody who is not thinking like me, I kill them. That was Muhammad was teaching them.
Ali u Pakistanu sam vidio da oni koji slijepo prate zakon i koji su fanatični žele da ubijaju ljude u ime Muhameda.
I think they don't even understand Islam, these people.
Ja sam siguran da ovi ljudi ne razumiju islam.
Because there are Muslims in your country. They are nice families. They don't want to make war. They want to live in peace also. They are pious people even. There's nothing wrong in it.
I ovdje, naravno, vi poznajete mnogo muslimana koji su dobri ljudi, koji imaju porodice i koji su fini, pošteni i dobri ljudi.
But for myself I saw that keeping the law will not give me the love.
Ali ono što sam ja vidio je da slijepo držanje zakona mi neće donijeti ljubav.
Nice people, yes.
Dobre ljude, da.
But freedom, no.
Ali ne i slobodu.
I had to give up.
Morao sam da odustanem od islama.
Respect, not for the fanatics, but I had respect for the religion, okay.
Ja imam poštovanje prema islamu, ali ne i prema fanaticima.
And by the way, when I wrote this book, the people asked, are non-Orthodox people, can they go to paradise? Or Catholics, Protestants, Hindus, Buddhists, are they all going to hell?
Ljudi me pitaju dok sam pisao ovu knjigu, da li će svi koji nisu pravoslavci otići u pakao ili neki mogu da odu u raj?
I give 5 answers why they go not to hell, of course.
Ja u ovoj knjizi dajem 5 razloga zbog čega oni neće otići u pakao.
A guy who is born in China, never heard about Jesus Christ. So God judges him according to his heart.
Neko ko je, na primjer, rođen u Kini, naravno Gospod mu sudi po srcu, po duši njegovoj.
Everybody knows about love or not love and hatred. Everybody.
Svi u suštini u sebi osjećaju šta je dobro, a šta je loše i poznaju tu razliku.
So God knows the hearts, and I think we will be surprised how many Muslims or Hindus we can meet in paradise. It's not up to me to judge, but I'm sure we will find people there.
Gospod zna naša srce i naše duše i siguran sam da ćemo se iznenaditi kada u raju vidimo mnogo muslimana i mnogo hindusa.
I think very fanatic Orthodox we will not find in, because they are fanatics.
Ali nećemo naći fanatične pravoslavce.
So I had to give up. I went to India, and in India I found the second great world religion, Hinduism.
I odustao sam i otišao sam u Indiju, tamo sam pronašao drugu veliku svjetsku religiju.
For the next 7 years I tried to find God in Hinduism.
Sljedećih 7 godina sam pokušao da nađem Boga u hinduizmu.
Most of the time I lived in Calcutta in India.
Živio sam većinu vremena sam proveo u Kalkuti.
I practiced yoga. So that I can clean myself.
Izučavao sam jogu kako bih očistio sebe.
Cleaning from violence, from lie, from pornography, from overeating, from passions, to clean. Yes.
Čistio sam sebe od prejedanja, od pornografije, od svih strasti.
And but it was difficult to find a personal God.
Ali bilo mi je mnogo teško da pronađem svog ličnog Boga.
Somebody calculated there must be about, if I remember just, 300,000 gods and half gods and goddesses in Hinduism.
Neko je rekao, izračunali su da u hinduizmu postoji 300,000 bogova i polubogova.
In Calcutta there was a rat temple where the people bow down to rats and think they are reincarnated saints, rats. So everything is possible. Dogs, elephants, monkeys.
U Kalkuti postoji hram u kojem se poštuju pacovi, gdje ljudi vjeruju da se sveci reinkarniraju u obliku pacova i možete pronaći da se obožavaju mnoge životinje, ne samo pacovi.
Which one is the God then?
Koji od njih je Bog?
No personal God. Everything is impersonal.
Ne postoji moj lični Bog, sve je udaljeno od mene.
And I started to have doubts because of 2 things. the reincarnation is one thing. If you cannot become cleansed, clean yourself in this life, okay, you will make better in the next life.
Počeo sam da razmišljam i otkrio sam da reinkarnacija znači da ako se ne očistite u ovom životu, to je u redu, očistit ćete se u sljedećem životu kada se reinkarnirate.
And if you don't make it in next life, they have the official number is you must be reincarnated 4,800,000 times, then you are automatically free.
Ako ne uspijete da se očistite, onda imate, can you repeat the numbers?
4,800,000 times.
4,800,000 puta da se reinkarnirate i onda ste automatski očišćeni.
You know, you have hard life in Montenegro, some people, eh? No more food, no more brush, no more, you know, life is difficult. I'm 77 years old, my head is taking my knees, it is discouraging, such a long reincarnation period.
Vi u Crnoj Gori imate težak život, prošli ste kroz mnogo nedaća, nekada nemate brašna. Gospodin Klaus kaže za sebe, on ima can you repeat your age, sorry? 77 godina. Gospodin Klaus, i onda zamislite kako bi bilo teško da se reinkarnirate toliko puta.
Discouraging.
To je obeshrabrujuće.
But the real doubt came when I said if we are free automatically, that means at the end Hitler, Stalin, Milo, Napoleon, Alexander the so-called Great, and St. Paul and St. Peter are all the same.
Ali se sumnja uvukla onda kada sam shvatio da na kraju, nakon 4,800,000 puta, Stalin, Hitler, Milo i svi naši sveci su na kraju isto.
Who loves truth cannot love like Milo. I'm not politician, but
Svi
I think
koji
if
vole
you love the truth, you cannot like Milo.
Ako volite istinu, ne možete voljeti Mila.
If we are liars, we like Milo.
Ako ste lažovi, volite Mila.
Okay, that's politics. We should not mix up church and politics, but it's
Ne treba da miješamo religiju i politiku.
So you see, you cannot be the same like Hitler or Stalin or St. Paul and St. Peter. And in Hinduism, this is the aim. And that is legalized injustice for me. It's not just like that. It cannot be just.
Ne može biti da Sveti Petar i Pavle budu isto što i Stalin i Hitler na kraju.
And then I read in the so-called holy scriptures of Hinduism of Krishna, like Christ. Krishna is a holy invention of God. He says, I have come to destroy the sinners.
Krišna kaže u svetim spisama da je došao da uništi grešnike.
This was a bang on my head.
To je bio udarac za mene.
So Krishna came to destroy Klaus because I know I'm a sinner.
Krišna je znači došao da uništi Klausa jer je on grešnik.
It was easy to see that I'm a sinner. So he came to destroy the sinners.
Lako je vidjeti da sam ja grešnik.
My mother destroyed me. The priest destroyed me. Islam destroyed me. And Krishna, I come to destroy the sinners again.
Od početka su me svi uništavali. Moja majka, sveštenik, Islam i sad je Krišna došao da me uništi.
Where is love?
Gdje je tu ljubav?
Where is forgiveness? Nothing.
Gdje je oproštaj?
I had to give up.
I ja sam odustao.
Christ did not come to destroy the sinners.
Hristos nije došao da uništi grešnike.
Christ came to love and free the sinners. That is the difference, but I didn't know about that.
Gospod je došao da spasi i oslobodi grešnike, ali ja to tada nisam znao. To je razlika.
At that time, luckily, I think, by God's grace, I met a real Christian. You might have heard of Mother Teresa from Calcutta.
Srećom sam tad upoznao majku Terezu, pravu hrišćanku.
And we became friends. And when I met her, I saw she's different. This woman has love.
I kada sam ju upoznao, vidio sam da je drugačija. Ta žena imala ljubav u sebi.
And she asked me, Klaus, what are you doing here in Calcutta? I said, I'm searching the truth.
Ona me je pitala, Klause, šta ti radiš ovdje u Kalkuti? Ja sam joj rekao da tražim istinu.
She started to laugh and said, Klaus, you must not come to Calcutta to search the truth, or to New York, or to Belgrade, or you cannot find the truth in Tokyo. You can find the truth only in your heart. And she embraced me and said, in your heart you can find the truth.
Ona mi je rekla, Klause, nećeš ljubav naći, nećeš istinu naći u New Yorku, u Beogradu, istinu moraš da pronađeš u sebi. I ona me zagrlila.
So I said, come on, what is the truth?
I ja sam rekao, pa šta je to istina?
Hinduism, Buddhism, Islam, what is the truth?
Prošao sam sve religije, reci mi šta je to
And
istina.
she just embraced me again and said, Klaus, wrong question number 2. The truth, the question is wrong. What is the truth? The real question is, who is the truth, not what. Who is the truth? It's got a name.
Dok me grlila, ona mi je rekla, Klause, postavljaš pogrešno pitanje. Pitanje nije šta je istina, nego ko je istina.
What do you mean? She said, yeah, Jesus Christ. I said, no, I don't want Jesus Christ. I don't want him. But he is the truth, he said.
Gospodin Klaus nije htio da čuje za Gospoda jer je imao loše iskustvo sa sveštenikom.
And I tried to convince her to become Hindu, but it doesn't function with Mother Teresa.
Ja sam pokušao da je nagovorim, da je ubijedim da pređe na hinduizam.
But this lady had always an answer with love. And that was eating up. You felt that she was right, but she was a Christian.
Ona je uvijek bila korak ispred mene i uvijek je na sve odgovor bio ljubav i to me je mučilo.
Then she said, Klaus, okay, if you cannot have a problem, I can understand. Maybe try with the Mother of God, Maria. She will intercede for you. You need a mother. I said, you can be my mother. Try with Maria.
Ona je rekla da ako imaš problem sa sinom, da probaš sa majkom. I rekla je da treba da porazgovaram sa Bogorodicom, jer mi nedostaje majka.
After some weeks, I gave up, and before I left, Mother Teresa took my hand and said, Klaus, if you forget about Mother of God, Maria, open your hand. In every hand, you can see in your hand, is an M, Maria.
Da.
There's an M. In every hand, by the lanes, is an M, you can look. So it reminds you like a brojanica, like a, see that the Mother of God will pray for you to protect you.
Gospodin Klaus je odlučio nakon nekoliko nedelja da ode, ali prije nego što je otišao, samo tišina, molim.
It's not hand reading, it's not hand reading with a gypsy woman.
Majka Teresa je rekla da će Bogorodica uvijek biti uz njega, iako svi pogledate na vašem dlanu, svi imate slovo ma.
So we became friends, but as she was a Christian, I left and I went from Calcutta to Tibet. And in Tibet I met the last great world religion, Buddhism.
I ja sam otišao sam na Tibet da spoznam posljednju veliku religiju svijeta, budizam.
I said, well, I must find God in this religion. There's nothing else in this world.
I zbog toga što ništa drugo nije preostalo, gospodin Klaus je bio siguran da će tu pronaći Boga.
It was very exotic, was beautiful in Tibet.
Bilo je veoma egzotično i uzbudljivo u Tibetu.
The problem was there, it was about 4,500 meters partially. The food was not Serbian food.
Problem je u tome što je Tibet na nadmorskoj visini od 4.500 metara i što je hrana loša, nije dobra kao kod nas.
Because if you are born there, maybe you can live there, but there was no tourism. It was in 1978, I think 1978. So it was really hard, and I got the address of a Buddhist monastery where they say the master is the highest person in Buddhism because he has reached nirvana.
I gospodin Klaus je živio tamo 1978. U to vrijeme nije bilo ni turizma, ni ničega i uslovi za život su bili jako loši. On je odlučio da ode u manastir jer je čuo da tamo može da se dostigne nirvana, najveći nivo u budizmu.
There was a really ascetic monastery in the jungle in the frontier between Thailand, Cambodia and Laos.
Otišao je u manastir na granici između Kambodže, Laosa i Tajlanda.
I entered and became monk there.
Tamo je postao monah.
It was no game. It was really a question of life and death.
Nije bila igra, bilo je pitanje života i smrti za gospodina Klausa.
And it was very interesting that Buddhist teaching comes close to Orthodoxy even.
Budizam za gospodina Klausa, kao što kaže, je veoma blizu pravoslavlju.
I can imagine that even Buddha is in paradise.
Ja volim da mislim i mislim da je Buda u raju.
He lived 650 years before Christ, so he couldn't know him. But I think he had a sensitivity about why humans do suffer.
Buda je živio 650 godina prije Hrista, pa nije mogao da ga spozna, ali je u sebi osjećao i razmišljao o tome zbog čega ljudi pate.
Each one of you, including myself, we all know suffering, isn't it?
Svi vi ovdje, uključujući i mene, svi poznajemo patnju.
Suffering from injustice, from food, from hunger, from politics, from many things we suffer.
Svi poznajemo patnju, glad, nepravdu, politiku.
So the essential question, why do we suffer?
Glavno pitanje je zbog čega mi patimo.
And Buddha found the right answer.
I Buda je pronašao pravi odgovor.
He found the right answers like our Orthodox fathers.
Pronašao je prave odgovore koje su pronašli naši sveti oci.
Where does it start?
Zbog čega počinje?
Where does it start?
Zbog čega počinje?
You know it yourself probably, but you're not conscious of it probably.
Vjerovatno svi to znate, samo niste toga svjesni.
It starts in our thoughts, in our brain.
Počinje u našim mislima. Tu počinje.
It's for the whole world the same. It starts in our brain.
Isto je za svakoga na planeti, počinje našim mislima, u našoj glavi.
And I will give you, you know, when I give talks, I always want that the people who listen go out richer than they came in.
I kada držim predavanje, cilj mi je da ljudi odu bogatiji nego što su došli.
I learned that from Mother Teresa. She told me, Klaus, I want that everybody who comes to me goes away richer.
To sam naučio od majke Tereze, jer ona mi je rekla da želi da svi koji se upoznaju sa njom odu od nje bogatiji nego što su bili.
And I will give you something now to go home richer. I will give you several gifts today.
Ja ću vama danas podariti nekoliko poklona.
One of you great saints, Otac Tadej.
Otac Tadej.
He said the most genius sentence. You know it all, but you don't practice it. This is the problem.
Rekao je najgenijalniju rečenicu ikad.
Like Buddha. Otac Tadej said, our happiness or our unhappiness
Otac Tadej je rekao naša sreća ili naša nesreća
is determined by our thoughts.
je određena našim mislima.
Not by Milo, not by Biden, not by Putin. It's determined by our thoughts. This is Otac Tadej.
Našu sreću ne određuju ni Putin, ni Milo, ni Biden, nego naše misli.
And if we know the depth of such a phrase, it's like Buddha. He said also, it starts in our thoughts.
I ako mi spoznamo dubinu te misli, kao što je Buda rekao, sve počinje našim mislima.
The problem, because Buddha, he was a living person, an historical person. It's not a fantasy like in Hinduism.
Buda je bio stvarna osoba koja je živjela, nije bio fantazija kao u hinduizmu.
He said, if everything starts in our thoughts, our suffering starts in our thoughts, you don't want to suffer, then stop thinking.
Problem je bio zbog toga što je Buda bio osoba kao i mi. I on je došao do zaključka da ako sve počinje našim mislima, rešenje je da prestanemo da mislimo.
Have you ever tried to stop thinking?
Jeste li nekada pokušali da prestanete da mislite?
You can close your eyes and try for 5 seconds not to think. It wanders day and night, our thoughts. We cannot stop them.
Pokušajte da zatvorite vaše oči i da ne mislite, u glavi će vam biti vatromet, jer naše misli stalno rade.
So we learned as Buddhist monks not to think. And the master said, if you manage 6 minutes, I think, 6 minutes not to think, you will have reached nirvana. Nirvana, I thought, must be like something like paradise, happiness, joy, something like that.
Gospodin Klaus u tom manastiru je imao monaha koji je bio glavni, on im rekao da će, ako postignu nirvanu, znači da neće misliti 6 minuta.
6 minutes.
Bez ikakvih misli. I on je bio siguran da će to biti raj.
You try 10 seconds, you will not manage it. So we had techniques to learn not to think. We had techniques.
Probajte da to radite 10 sekundi i nećete uspjeti, ali oni su imali tehnike koje su im pomagale da se oslobode misli.
3 different techniques we used not to think in the Buddhist monastery.
U tom hramu su ih učili 3 tehnike da ne misle.
The first one was breathing meditation with the breath, inhale, outhale.
Prva tehnika je bila da se fokusiraju na disanje.
And the other one, because sometimes we had to meditate in the temple 24 hours without sleep.
Nekada smo morali da u manastiru meditiramo 24 sata bez spavanja.
So when you fall asleep, you go up and do there's the walking meditation.
I kada zaspete i ustanete, radite nešto što se zove hodajuća meditacija.
So we walk with a glass. You have a cut, you have with a glass on your head, and you walk through the temple, and you concentrate on your steps and everything, on the movement.
Kada se probudite, onda stavite čašu na glavu i fokusirate se na hodanje. A čaša stoji jer su glave monasima obrijane.
You cannot allow to think of other things because pluck it fell down, it would be a shame.
Nije vam dozvoljeno da mislite na druge stvari jer pazite stalno da vam ne padne kofa ili čaša koja vam je u glavi.
The third technique was mantra meditation. Mantra is a word, it's just I don't know, useless word.
Treća tehnika se zove mantra meditacija, ali mantra je beskorisna riječ.
So we sit there in the temple and would say, like Buddha, like a mantra, Buddha, 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 Buddha. 24 hours, Buddha, Coca-Cola, oh no, Buddha, Buddha, Mercedes, no, Buddha, Buddha. You see, when thoughts come, you go back to the technique, not to think.
Proveli bi također 24 časa ponavljajući jednu istu mantru, Buddha, 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 i kada god bi vam došla neka druga riječ, odmah bih se trudili da se vratite na tu mantru koju ponavljate.
And Klaus reached nirvana after 3.5 years.
I nakon 3,5 godine Klaus je dostigao nirvanu.
And then was the big surprise.
I doživio je veliko iznenađenje.
We have been in the holy liturgy this morning.
Bili smo na liturgiji, svetoj liturgiji.
But the fathers say in the holy liturgy minimum 3 times, God, we thank you that you brought us from non-being into being. So we are here now, we be.
I 3 puta je jutros otac Nikolaj i svaki sveštenik koji drži liturgiju ponovio da nas je Gospod doveo iz nebića u biće.
Whereas Buddha goes from being into non-being. He goes the opposite way.
Kod Bude je to okrenuto, on nas pretvara iz bića u nebiće, to je krajnji cilj budizma.
In Buddhism we commit spiritual suicide.
Mi izvršavamo duhovno samoubistvo u budizmu.
We eliminate even the Holy Spirit. We eliminate everything.
Eliminišemo Sveti Duh, eliminišemo sve iz sebe.
And when I was empty, I got the visit of demons.
I kada sam sebe očistio i ispraznio, tada su me posjetili demoni.
Like you see me with biological, physical eyes, I see you, I saw the demons.
Kao što vi mene sada vidite pred vama ovdje, vašim očima, tako sam ja vidio demone ispred mene.
It was such a horror, and I thought I'd die. Oh, it was terrible.
I to je bilo tako strašno, gospodin Klaus je mislio da će da umre. Bio je prestravljen.
I was looking for love, and I was dead. I had to give up Buddhism after 3.5 years.
Nakon 3,5 godine u budizmu, gdje je gospodin Klaus tražio ljubav, na kraju je dobio smrt.
Last chance, maybe in occultism I find something, in sorcery, I don't know.
Na kraju je odlučio da posljednja šansa za njega je da se oproba u okultizmu, u magijama.
I went to America, it's maybe the Redskins, the Indians have some knowledge, or I went to Mexico.
Otišao je u Ameriku, u novi svijet, jer je mislio da će možda plemena koja žive tamo imati odgovor za njega.
I ended up in South America, in Colombia.
Završio je u Kolumbiji, u Južnoj Americi.
And I think to this point I have been attacked to be killed about 24-25 times already. I survived death.
I do tada je gospodin Klaus već 24 ili 25 puta preživio smrt. Ljudi su pokušali da ga ubiju.
In war between India and Pakistan, in war between Israel and Lebanon, in war between Iraq and Iran, all the time shooting, and I always survived.
Jer je gospodin Klaus prošao mnoge ratove između Pakistana, Indije, Izraela i Libana.
So this time I think my guardian angel,
I tad je on pomislio da njegov anđeo
they
čuvar
must have been on strike.
mora da su štrajkovali.
I said, it's too difficult to protect Klaus. God, can you do something with this guy?
Jer je Klaus lud i nemoguće da se sačuva. Možeš li, Gospode, molim te da uradiš nešto sa njim?
And God is God of love, so he listened to his angels and he said, okay, I will take care.
Naš Bog je Bog ljubavi i on je rekao, naravno da ću ga spasiti, ja ću to da završim.
And if you think when God comes in your life, you go on a pink cloud and hallelujah with a harp. No, God is very strange sometimes.
I vi mislite da kada vas posjeti Bog, da će to biti na nekom ružičastom oblaku i sa harfama, ali ne. Bog je veoma čudan.
Is it hot for you? Do you want to open window a little bit or something?
Želite li da otvorite prozore ako mi vruće?
Is it okay? Are you okay?
Je li sve u redu ako hoćete da se raskomotite ili nešto?
Sauna is better than igloo, eh?
Bolje je sauna nego iglo.
Okay. Yes, let some fresh air in.
Otvorite prozore slobodno.
Sleeping, like me. Okay.
U redu.
Now God allowed that I was taken hostage in Colombia. You know how criminal country is there. It's more criminal than Balkan even.
Bog je dopustio da me kriminalci u Kolumbiji uzmu. A svi znate koliko je Kolumbija opasna, opasnija je čak i od Balkana.
And I was taken up in the Anden mountains.
Odveli su me u Ande, u planinski vijenac.
When I tried to flee, I was hit and I was covered with blood.
Kad je pokušao da pobjegne, oni su ga uhvatili i lupili su ga po glavi, bio je prekriven.
And in the revolution camp, I was condemned to death.
I revolucionari su ga osudili na smrt.
And I was standing in front of 7 Kalashnikovs.
I na njega su uperili 7 kalašnikovih puški.
And I saw the finger was on the trigger.
I vidio je da je prst na obaraču spreman da ga upuca.
And I know probably 1 second more and I will be...
Da je prošla još možda 1 sekunda, bio bi mrtav, izrešetan.
Now, let me talk about time.
I da vam sada malo govorim o vremenu.
It's very important. What is time? What is 1 second?
Šta je 1 sekunda?
Is it too late? Because I will come back to the thoughts again with Buddha and with Otas Tadei.
Jer ću se vratiti na priču o ocu Tadeju i Budi.
I want to give you something. Again, when you go out that you are rich.
Želim da vam dam nešto sad, da kada izađete odavde budete bogati.
Of course I was scared, I was afraid, I will be killed in 1 second.
Naravno da sam bio preplašen jer da je prošla još 1 sekunda bio bih mrtav.
Can I ask you a question? Every one of you now personal question.
Želim da vas pitam nešto lično svakog od vas.
Who of you has experienced fear? Can I see?
Ko je od vas iskusio strah, neka podigne ruku.
Everybody. Now, my gift for you, or let's say Holy Spirit's gift, he came through Christ himself, of course. When he told me, he spoke to me later. I will come to this point quickly now. I can give you something that you live without fear for the rest of your life.
Daću vam nešto što će vam omogućiti što će vam omogućiti da živite do kraja života bez straha. Ali to vam ne govorim ja, to kroz mene govori Duh Sveti.
Listen well now.
Pažljivo me slušajte.
Fear, this kind of fear,
strah
is always in the future.
Je uvijek u budućnosti.
Never now.
Nikada u sadašnjosti.
Now I am here at this glass in my hand. This is now.
Držim čašu u ruci, ovo je sadašnjost.
I put it, it's past already.
Kada je spustim, to je već prošlost.
I will drink, it was future already. I did not drink yet.
Ako razmišljam da će popiti, to je već budućnost, nije se desilo.
Most of our people live in the past, what was on television yesterday, what will happen in Ukraine tomorrow, but they don't live now.
Većina ljudi živi u prošlosti i živi u budućnosti, ali ne žive u sadašnjosti.
So here comes the Projanica then in the end, but we will talk again later. So, if you know that you have fear the next time, you must be conscious of all. Remember, Otats today, happiness, unhappiness, determined by our thoughts. So you're in the future with any fear. My grandmother will die, I have an exam, police will catch me, whatever.
Drugi put kada budete uplašeni, treba da sjetite riječi oca Tadeja i da znate da sve to što razmišljate u budućnosti.
When you know that, come back in the now. Because now I'm here, I'm not dead yet.
Kada ste svjesni toga, vratite se u sadašnjost, jer ste svjesni da ste tu i da se ništa loše ne dešava.
Now is the only moment which is called life.
Jer je sadašnjost jedini trenutak koji zovemo životom.
Past is no life, future is no life.
Prošlost i budućnost nisu život.
On the icon of in the church this morning, is there O-on? No. In Christ you can see always, it's not O-O-N. O-on means the being, life is now. Christ is the one who is now.
Na ikonama možemo vidjeti Gospoda, jer Gospod je sadašnjost, on je život.
So when you come from the fear in the now, by the Projanica or by our Father, it doesn't matter which one, but come in the presence of Christ,
kada se vratite u sadašnjost uz pomoć brojanice ili molitve,
you will discover that fear is from Satan. It's fake life.
Otkrićete da je strah
Satane
i da je to lažni život. Da je to laž.
It's a soap bubble.
To je običan balon od sapunice i samo će se raspršiti. Ako ste svjesni da živite u sadašnjosti.
It comes from the demons.
Jer to dolazi od demona.
Future is the realm of the demons.
Budućnost je carstvo demona.
So we must come in the presence of Christ. Then the fear.
I mi moramo da se vratimo u prisustvo.
Demons have only as much power on us as we give them. They have no power by themselves.
Mi moramo da se vratimo u sadašnjost, u prisustvo Gospoda, jer demoni imaju samo toliko snage koliko i mi dozvolimo.
Our happiness, our unhappiness is determined by we give the enemies the power when we believe their lies. This is the trick.
Sjetite se šta je rekao otac Tadej, da mi njima dajemo moć, jer sve loše se dešava u budućnosti.
Go out with this knowledge and you will be without fear, not from tomorrow, but practice it. It functions.
Zapamtite ovo i vježbajte i vaš život će biti bez straha.
You can ask my wife, she's sitting here.
Pitajte moju suprugu, ona sidi tu.
It's not to make me glorify, but I live since I met Christ. This is 41 years now without fear. Fear of God is different, of course. I live without fear.
Pitajte moju suprugu, ja 41 godinu živim bez straha. Ovo nije da bih sebe uzdizao, bojim se jedino Gospoda, ali to je drugi strah.
Okay, I come back how I was teaching that Projanita with Otas Sofroni. Let me see. Now, let me tell a little joke with 1 second. What is 1 second?
Dozvolite mi da vam ispričam jednu šalu ili vic o sekundi. Šta je jedna sekunda?
Somebody sent me by email, you know, these jokes you get all the time on
internet. Stalno na internetu gledam i čitam i šalju mi nove šale.
You could see on the photo in Jerusalem, a Jew on the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem.
Možete da vidite Židova ili Jevreja na zidu plača.
So he had his kippah and he was standing, you know, these little papers in the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. Yeah, he was standing there and there was a phone on.
On je na zidu plača je postojao telefon i on je pričao.
So somebody wrote underneath, he's calling to God. Speaking with God probably.
On vjerovatno je pričao sa Bogom.
Do you know the phone number of God?
Znate li broj telefona?
Here's a phone number. You don't know?
Naravno da ne znam.
Come on, I have give you a lot today. 333.
333 je broj telefona.
666 is my phone number.
666 je broj gospodina Klausa.
Why 333? Look at Tom and Jerry. No, Jeremy, the prophet Jeremy. Chapter 33, Old Testament, Jeremy. Chapter 33, verse 3 says, "Call me when you are in need and I will answer you." Look at in the Bible. This is it.
Kako ja znam da je broj 333 zbog toga što je poglavlje prorok Jeremija poglavlje broj 3, stih 33, kaže pozovite me kada budem trebao.
It's no joke, eh?
To nije šala, to je istina.
Call him, that's Projanica again. So, that was the second, and the Jew now will come back. God, can I ask you something?
I Jevrej je htio da pita Gospoda nešto.
What is 1 second for you?
Šta je za tebe sekunda?
God, 1,000,000 years.
Gospod je rekao 1.000.000 godina.
God, can I ask you another question?
Mogu li da te pitam još nešto?
What is $1,000,000 for you?
Šta je za tebe $1.000.000?
I said, 1 cent.
1 cent.
God, one more question?
Još jedno pitanje.
Yes.
Da.
Can you give me a cent?
Možeš da mi daš cent, 1 cent.
And God said, wait a second.
Bog mi rekao, sačekaj sekundu.
So, my friends, time does not exist only now.
Zbog toga, prijatelji, vrijeme ne postoji, postoji samo sad.
And in this second, I called this unknown God and said, God, if you exist, save me now from the 7 Kalashnikovs.
I u toj sekundi sam rekao da, u toj sekundi sam pozvao Boga kojeg još nisam poznavao. Ako ti postojiš, spasi me od ubistva.
Please give me a visible proof that you saved me. I don't want to say to myself, I was lucky. That's not enough.
Ali te molim da mi jasno staviš do znanja da si me ti spasao, jer ne želim da kažem sebi da sam imao sreće.
And the miracle happened.
I čudo se desilo.
And you know, want to know how I survived?
I ako želite da znate kako sam preživio,
Buy my book.
kupite knjigu, pomažete. Samo još jednom da kažemo da vi pomažete manastir, da ne pomažete gospodina Klausa, to je manastir Duljevo.
Now I'll tell you. Out of the bush, it was really in the mountains, night, it was dark, came another group of people. I didn't know who that was. The Kalashnikovs went around. This is how I could escape.
I u tom trenutku su, jer su bili u planini, iz šume i iz grmlja je izašla druga grupa ljudi i oni su se okrenuli i počeli su da pucaju na te ljude i gospodin Klaus je uspio da pobjegne.
You see, 1 second was enough that the Kalashnikovs went round.
Vidite li koliko je 1 sekunda bila je dovoljna da mu pomogne?
In this moment I knew God exists.
U tom trenutku sam bio siguran da Bog postoji.
But immediately, who are you? Where are you?
Ali su slijedila 2 pitanja. Ko si ti i gdje si ti?
I was robbed again in Bolivia. I was so fed up, I went back to Europe, to Switzerland.
I opet sam imao mnogo pitanja, bilo mi je svega dosta i vratio sam se iz Bolivije u Švajcarsku.
People told me that Jesus has saved you.
I tu su ljudi rekli da me je Hristos spasao.
I said, I didn't see Jesus there.
Ali rekao sam da ga tamo nisam
It's
vidio.
a spiritual thing. We prayed for you. There was friends of mine. We prayed for you.
Ali su mu oni rekli da je to duhovna stvar i da su se oni molili za njega.
So I became curious about this Jesus.
Pa me je taj Hristos zainteresovao.
And one pastor, he was taking care. He saw that I had all these fight and struggles. He said, Klaus, you cannot even become a Christian. If you want, you cannot. Because you have given your life to the demons in Hinduism. You're full of demons.
Jedan sveštenik je vidio da se gospodin Klaus muči i da ima mnogo pitanja, ali mu je rekao da on ne može da postane hrišćanin jer se predao demonima u hinduizmu.
So what can I do? He said, you must make an exorcism.
I on ga je pitao šta da radi i sveštenik mu je rekao da mora da uradi egzorcizam.
I made 2 exorcisms.
I uradili smo to 2 puta.
Lasted 3 days, was very difficult days for me.
I to je sve trajalo 3 dana, to su bili jako teški dani.
And then I said to this pastor, it was a Protestant pastor, said, I tried with Buddha, with Krishna, with Allah, with all these gods, they never answered me. So you want me to try with Jesus now?
Taj sveštenik je bio protestant i on mu je rekao da je probao sve religije i da on ne očekuje, kako da gospodin Klaus očekuje sada da će taj Bog da ga spasi.
He said, very simple, they cannot answer you because they're all dead. They are founders of religion. They're all dead. They cannot answer you.
On mu je odgovorio da je normalno da svi ti osnivači religija, budizma, hinduizma, nisu mogli da mu daju odgovor jer su oni mrtvi.
He said, Jesus is risen. He's risen from the dead.
Ali je Hristos vaskrsao, on je živ.
I'm logic German. I said, he is risen from the dead, then I can speak to him.
Gospodin Klaus, kao i svaki Njemac, se koristi logikom i on je razmislio da ako je Hrist živ, onda će on moći da razgovara sa njim.
You see the difference with impersonal gods and a personal approach, personal and impersonal. He is risen, I can speak to him. But my logic said he's risen, I can speak to him.
Gospodin Klaus se vraća na priču sa početka da je tražio ličnog Boga i da ako je to pravi Bog, ako je to lični Bog, on će moći da razgovara sa njim.
Let's make a test.
Ajde da testiramo to.
Please, what's your name?
Kako se zovete oče?
Milosav.
Milosav. Milosav is not dead, you see?
Otac Milosav nije mrtav.
He can answer me.
Može da mi odgovori.
So he said, if Christ is risen from the dead, he can answer me. Otherwise, forget.
Također, ako je Hrist živ, ako je ustao iz groba, ako je vaskrsnuo, on će mi odgovoriti jer nije mrtav.
It's just logic, isn't it?
To je čista logika.
So I said to the priest, what can I do? How can I speak to Christ?
Pa sam pitao sveštenika šta treba da uradim, kako da razgovaram sa Hristom.
And he said, you must pray.
On je rekao da treba da se molim.
I said, I don't know how to pray. I've never prayed in my life.
Ja sam odgovorio da ne znam to da radim jer se nikada u životu nisam molio.
Praying is very simple, Klaus. Just say the truth. Say what comes out of your heart. Say the truth. That's praying.
Sveštenik mu je rekao da je to veoma jednostavno, da samo treba da kaže to što mu leži na duši.
I closed my eyes. And it was my first prayer to this unknown Christ.
I sklopio sam oči i prvi put sam se molio tom nepoznatom Hristu.
So, Jesus, if you exist really, and if you are risen from the dead, then I will believe you when you speak to me.
Ako si ti zaista vaskrsao i ako si zaista živ, ja ću ti vjerovati ako ti razgovaraš sa mnom.
But I have a condition.
Ali imam jedan uslov.
I want to be sure it's you.
Želim da budem siguran da si to ti.
That was all. It was my first prayer.
To je bila moja prva molitva.
Why I wanted to be sure? Because in India I was a medium. I could listen to voices from dead gurus and dead people and give messages to the people. Medium is called. So I just wanted to be sure it's not the wrong voice again.
Gospodin Klaus je želio da bude siguran jer je u Indiji bio medium, razgovarao je sa mrtvima i želio je da bude siguran da to nije neki drugi glas.
The priest said Jesus will speak to you and I thought the priest is crazy.
Sveštenik mu je rekao da će mu se Gospod obratiti, ali gospodin Klaus je mislio da je sveštenik lud.
He might speak to Father Nicola, to Father Milosava, or to you, but a sinner like me, he will not speak to me.
Možda bi Gospod razgovarao sa ocem Nikolajem ili sa ocem Milosavom, ali ne sigurno sa grešnikom kao što je gospodin Klaus tad bio.
10 hours later,
10 sati kasnije,
Christ has not spoken to me.
Hrist mi se nije obratio.
I went back to the priest. I said, come on, what's wrong? 10 hours already, why is he not speaking to me?
Vratio sam se kod sveštenika i rekao sam, pa šta se dešava, prošlo je 10 sati i još mi se nije obratio.
He said, I cannot decide, it's up to him, but I said, come on, make the exorcism, turbo exorcism, maybe Christ will be faster. I do something.
Da mu je gospodin Klaus rekao svešteniku da uradi egzorcizam još jedan, turbo egzorcizam kako bi mu se Hrist obratio.
He did it.
I on je to uradio.
1 hour later, Christ spoke to me.
Sat vremena kasnije Hrist se obratio gospodinu Klausu.
It was an ecumenical, Catholics, Protestants, Orthodox are not really in Switzerland very small groups in Augusta, but it was a meeting with 3,000 people in the Cathedral of Lausanne.
U tom trenutku su u toj katedrali bili pravoslavci, protestanti i katolici, bilo je 3.000 ljudi.
And when the priest came with the cup, with the bread and wine,
kada je sveštenik prišao sa pričešćem,
my neighbor, friends, they knew me. They said, take the communion, Klaus. Do exorcism, we pray for you. Go now, take the communion.
Njegovi prijatelji koji su bili sa njim rekli su mu da treba da se pričesti. Ajde, Klaus, idi pričesti se.
Said, I cannot, because you go, I'm not a Christian, I cannot decide to take a communion. I'm not a Christian.
On im je rekao da oni idu, ali da on ne želi to da uradi jer on nije hrišćanin.
But they had told me it's the body and blood of Christ.
A oni su mi rekli da su to tijelo i krv Hristova.
Forgive me, but I thought they're cannibals. They eat their God.
Ja sam mislio da su oni kanibali jer jedu bogove.
So, logic, German thought, you see. But then I thought, if that's true somehow, is this body and blood really? Well, she cannot decide, I cannot decide, well, I must ask him. I will ask him.
I onda sam opet je u meni proradio logički Njemac i razmišljao sam da drugi ne mogu da znaju da li je to pravo tijelo i prava krv, pa sam odlučio da pitam njega.
Closed my eyes and said, well, Jesus, you want me to come or not?
Zatvorio sam oči i rekao sam, Hriste, želiš li da priđem, da se pričestim ili ne?
And he spoke to me.
I on mi odgovorio.
My friends, as you hear my voice now, if you close your eyes, you will see me. It was clear in my ear, absolutely clear, audible.
Kao što vi mene sada čujete, tako sam ja čuo njega jasno i glasno.
Yes, come, I have forgiven you everything.
Da, priđi, sve sam ti oprostio.
You can imagine the power of love in this moment. I think there are never words, you can find words like that.
Možete da zamislite kakvu sam snagu ljubavi osjetio i kako sam se osjećao u tom trenutku. Ne postoje riječi da bih vam to opisao.
The very fraction of a second, I remember, the echo of his voice was still in my ear, and noise came down, a sound like this, from the ceiling from the cathedral, down on me, a noise, a whistling noise.
Nakon dijelić sekunde nakon toga zvuk iz mojih ušiju se pretvorio u zvuk sa plafona koji se spustao na mene.
And it was like a symbolical, I don't know, you can imagine a big sword, second-hand thought, was like cutting me in two, from up and down here.
To je bilo kao da me mač razdvaja na pola.
And I was full of hatred all of a sudden.
I odjednom sam bio pun mržnje.
Wrong, I was tricked again.
Mislio sam da su me opet prevarili.
And ran out of the church and wanted to kill myself.
Pobjegao sam iz crkve i htio sam da se ubijem.
There is the cathedral in Lausanne, Switzerland is on a hill.
Katedrala u Lozani je na brdu.
From the main door, 40 steps, 30 steps, then you can jump down in the old city and kill myself. That's what I wanted. Because I was so disappointed.
30-40 koraka od izlaza iz katedrale je litica i ispod je stari grad. Ja sam htio da se bacim i da se ubijem.
Halfway I heard another voice in my ear, audible, again audible. Hey, are you unhappy?
Na pola puta sam čuo još jednom zvuk, jasan, jesi li srećan?
Do what you have always done when you were unhappy.
Jesi li nesrećan? Uradi sve ono što si uradio svaki put kada si nesrećan.
And what do you have drug addicts also in Belgrade, in Podgorica, when they are unhappy, do what you have always done, shoot again, steal again, look pornography again, overeat again, like the Americans. It's always the same trick. Do what you have always done.
I šta to znači? Kao kada narkomani koji su zavisni od droge, kada su nesrećni šta rade, uzimaju novu dozu. I to je taj glas govorio gospodinu Klausu da uradi ono što je radio svaki put kada je nesrećan.
What our Orthodox calls passions. We are victims, we are slaves to our passions.
To je ono što pravoslavci nazivaju strastima, jer smo mi žrtve naših strasti.
This is concerning everybody almost. Everybody has his passion.
A strasti se dotiču svih nas.
And here we go again. You want to be happy? Our happiness, our unhappiness is determined by our thoughts.
I vraćamo se na priču sa početka da su naša sreća i nesreća sve potiče od naših misli.
This voice told me do what you have always done. That means before, to have power over the people, to destroy their souls. That's what I did before. Because I didn't have life. They give me their life. I sucked it out of them.
Glas mu je govorio da se vrati na svoje stare puteve, da iz ljudi izvlači dobru energiju i da isisava životnu energiju iz njih, jer je to radio ranije.
Immediately I saw a victim, 3 young women, beautiful looking, were passing there, so I blocked their way And that's all. I have to look in their eyes to stop and to play with them.
I u tom trenu je gospodin Klaus vidio 3 žrtve, 3 mlade, lijepe žene.
When I looked in the eyes of the first girl,
Stao je ispred njih i pogledao u oči prve djevojke.
I think that was probably by the grace of God already, because Christ had spoken to me, but everything went so fast. It was difficult to follow for me. So I saw in her eyes that this girl, physically she was nice, but I saw her soul and she was unhappy.
I mislim da je već tada sam milošću Božijom vidio dušu te djevojke i vidio sam da je ona nesrećna.
And then my, again, logic, German brain said, Klaus, how can you find happiness with unhappy people? It's not logic.
I onda sam kao i svaki Njemac logični u sebi razmišljao, Klause, kako možeš da nađeš sreću sa nesrećnim ljudima? Nije logično.
When I realized that, I got blackout. I just fell unconscious. I fell to the ground. It was black.
I tad sam se onesvijestio, pao sam na zemlju.
The friends, the priest followed me. They had seen something had happened to me, and they told me this was a counter attack of Satan.
Ljudi su izašli, prijatelji koji su bili sa njim, su izašli i vidjeli su da je pao i rekli su mu da je to bio kontranapad.
But also, God, you have prayed. You want to be sure that Christ speak to you. So God heard your prayer and allowed that Satan could speak to you so that you can see the difference.
Jer je Gospod mu se obratio i on je dozvolio da Satana se o njemu obrati da bi on mogao da spozna koja je razlika.
And in this moment I said, I have lost 36 years of my life listening to the wrong voice. Do what you have always done. I don't want you anymore. Next time you come, physically, boxing gloves. Poof, poof, poof. I will beat you, Satan.
I gospodin Klaus je u tom trenutku shvatio da je protraćio 36 godina života i da je cijelo vrijeme slušao pogrešne zvukove, demone i rekao je da sljedeći put kad ga vidi da će ga prebijati.
But the priest said, you cannot beat Satan, Klaus.
Ali mu je sveštenik rekao da ne može da prebije Satana.
He's older, he's faster, he's more tricky than you. You cannot beat him. Nobody can beat him in this world.
On je mnogo lukaviji od tebe, starije i niko ne možeš da ga pobjediš. Niko na ovom svijetu ne može da ga pobjedi.
Only one person could beat him.
Samo jedna osoba mogla da ga pobjedi.
Jesus Christ on Golgotha.
Krist na Golgoti.
Klaus, he is beaten already. You don't have to beat him.
On ga je Klaus već porazio, nema potrebe da ga ti prebiješ.
If you are in God, he is beaten. If you are not in God, you will be beaten.
Ako si sa Hristom, on je već poražen. Ako si bez Hrista, ti ćeš biti poražen.
Our happiness, our unhappiness is determined by our thoughts. You come always to the same point. If you are in Christ, Brojanica, whatever, you are protected. If you are not there, you are not protected.
I vraćamo se na onu priču da ako ste sa Gospodom, da ste zaštićeni, ako ste u sadašnjosti, zaštićeni ste jer živite puni život, a ako ste u prošlosti i budućnosti, nesrećni ste.
You decide.
Vi odlučite kako želite živjeti.
Then I come to the end now. The next day in the liturgy or in this service, the communion came again, and when the priest came with the cup again, I scared. I think this lightning will come down again, and I was scared. I was terribly scared.
Tokom sljedeće liturgije opet se približilo pričešće i ja sam se prepao jer sam mislio da će da se ponovi isto, da će opet da sađe mač sa plafona.
And this time, in my fear, Christ came the second time and spoke to me.
I u mom strahu Hrist mi se obratio drugi put.
Loud again, absolutely in my ears.
Kao i prvi put, jasno i glasno.
And these are the sentences he said.
I ovo mi je rekao.
Don't be afraid.
Nemoj da se plašiš.
In my name,
u moje ime,
you will always be stronger.
Ćeš uvijek jačati, bit ćeš jači.
I said, well, that's a deal. That's good. I always want to be strong.
Dobro, prihvatam. Od uvijek sam želio da budem jači.
I accept.
Prihvatam.
That's when I became Christian.
I tako sam postao hrišćanin.
So that's the first part. Then the second part is now. Why Orthodoxy?
To je prvi dio. A sada je drugi dio zbog čega pravoslavlje.
In Germany, in France, in Switzerland, you find Catholics, you find Protestants, of course, free churches.
U Njemačkoj i po Evropi imate razne crkve, protestante, katolike, slobodne crkve.
And then one day, again in Lausanne, in this town, I found Saint Sophrony. I must say Saint was not Saint, but it was Father Otac Sophrony.
Jednog dana u Lozani sam upoznao oca Sofronije, u tom trenu tada nije on bio svetac.
And when I saw his face,
kad sam vidio njegovo lice,
I'll show you.
Pokazat ću vam.
You know what they look like. They
Znate
are all
kako
similar.
izgledaju.
The saints,
Svi sveci slično izgledaju.
Patriarch Pavel.
Patrijarh Pavle.
When you see these faces, I felt, after all the gurus in India, and all of the so-called big preachers in Islam, that man was love made visible.
Nakon svega što sam prošao, nakon islama, nakon gurua, nakon svih njih, kada pogledate ovo lice, vidite da je to živa i čista ljubav.
I didn't know anything about Orthodoxy. Who knows in Germany about Orthodoxy?
Nisam znao ništa o pravoslavlju, jer gotovo niko u Njemačkoj ne zna.
It's a bit unfortunately because the Serbs in Zurich, the Serbs are with the Serbs, the Greeks with the Greeks, the Romanians and so on. They are ethnic clubs a little bit.
Jer su ljudi drže se svojih grupa, Srbi sa Srbima, Grci sa Grcima, i tako da se ljudi ne miješaju.
Serbian Orthodox are much better than the Bulgarian Orthodox. Did you know that?
Ja sam sada...
The Russian Orthodox are better than the Ukrainian Orthodox. No, this is what Father Sophrony said, nationalism. It's very unhealthy.
Kada se ljudi dijele na rusku pravoslavnu crkvu, srpsku i tako dalje, to nije dobro. Otac Sofronije je to nazivao nacionalizmom.
That's what I said in the beginning. If we follow the prodigal son or the brother who stayed with Christ. So we have to make the decision. Whom do we want to follow?
I tu dolazimo opet na pitanje kojeg ćemo sina da pratimo. Da li bludnog sina ili sina koji je ostao sa
Do we want to be Orthodox Pharisees or do we want to be like he was a model of love?
Da li treba da budemo fariseji ili kao otac Sofronije da budemo čista ljubav?
So that's why I wanted to become Orthodox, but Father Sophrony said, wait.
I ja sam tad poželio sam da budem pravoslavac, ali otac Sofronije rekao da sačekam.
It's not like the Protestant, the free churches, they paste your etiquette here, you are member now. By force very often.
Nije to tako lako kao u drugim, kao u protestantizmu, da vam samo stave nalepnicu i da ste vi njihov član često i pod prisilom.
Only after 3 years he accepted me.
Nakon 3 godine, tek nakon 3 godine me prihvatio.
With some miracles happening, Father Sophrony could make miracles.
Usput su se dešavala mnoga čuda, jer otac Sofronije je činio razna čuda u mom životu.
I see, and if I compare with Catholics, if I compare with Protestants, they have the same Bible. There's no difference in the Bible.
I tad sam uporedio sa protestantizmom, sa katolicima. Oni svi čitaju isto pismo, istu Bibliju.
But Christ said, my kingdom is not from this world. Ukraine, Russia, Christian, Greek and Serbia, my kingdom is not from this world.
Ali je Hristos rekao da njegovo carstvo nije od ovog svijeta.
And I could see the Vatican in 1054, Vatican separated from the true church and made a church of this world, like the Muslims want.
I vidio sam kada su se katolici odvojili od prave vjere i kada su počeli da prave carstvo na zemlji, kao što su to radili muslimani. To nije bila prava vjera.
Those Catholics who followed Christ, they became saints. But those who followed the Vatican, they made politics. Today, Vatican is political system. Is not taking care of the souls.
Oni katolici koji su pratili Hrista srcem i dušom su postali svetitelji, a oni koji su pratili Vatikan su kao i danas što imate u Vatikanu da ljudi prate politiku.
And then you have the Croatians as your enemies because they are under the Vatican, some of them, not all.
I sada vi imate Hrvate koji su vam često neprijatelji, ne svi naravno, ali mnogi od njih jesu samo zato što prate Vatikan.
And then a fanatic Orthodox on the other side, and they make war again. So this is not Christ, you see what I mean?
A na drugoj strani imate pravoslavce koji su fanatični i onda se dešava rat, a to nije ljubav, to nije vjera.
So what is Orthodoxy for me personal? What is Orthodoxy for you?
Šta je pravoslavlje za mene? Lično, šta je pravoslavlje za vas?
I think we all have passions in us, every one of us.
Svi mi imamo strasti u nama.
Look at the world, look at the Americans, they look like tons, they have all 200 kilos to people. Overeating, pornography, young people.
Osvrnite se oko sebe kako ljudi izgledaju, mnogi su gojazni, mnogi ljudi su na drogama, pornografija, kocka, pohlepa.
All these things are in us.
Sve te stvari su u nama.
They are in me too, they are in every one of us.
I u meni su i u svima nama.
And when we listen to the voice of the enemy,
a kada slušamo glas demona,
the
neprijatelja,
soap bubble becomes a beton ball, you know. The prisoner.
Yes. Kada mi slušamo glasove demona, taj mjehurić u stvari postanu okovi koji su jako teški i neprobojni.
And if remember what the church, our Orthodox church gives us in the holy liturgy.
Ali mi treba da se sjetimo šta nam to pravoslavlje daje u toku svete liturgije.
When the priest comes even with the great entry, let us lay down all care of the world.
Kada sveštenik tokom velikog hoda izađe i kaže da pustimo sve brige svijeta.
Don't think of Russia and Ukraine now. Let down all the cares of the world. The prince of this world is Satan, you know that.
Nemojte da mislite o svim brigama ovog svijeta, ne razmišljajte o Ukrajini, o Rusiji, o koroni, treba da pustite sve brige svijeta.
Because we present the cherubim and the seraphim to receive the Christ. So we cannot think of things of the world in the great entry when the priest comes with the cup, you see.
Jer mi tad ne treba da mislimo o brigama svijeta, treba da se premimo da primimo Hrista.
If you're more concerned about Russia and Ukraine instead of receiving the Christ, the Holy Liturgy, it's lost time, then it's boring.
Jer ako mislite o ovozemaljskim stvarima, onda je sveta liturgija izgubljeno vrijeme.
But if we go on the knees like you this morning in the church and ask forgiveness and before Christ, then the liturgy becomes a hospital.
Ali ako se mi spustimo na koljena i zamolimo za oprost, kao što smo mi uradili ovog jutra, onda sveta liturgija postaje liječilište.
And the priests are the doctors. They are not in white, they are in black, but they are the same, you see.
Sveštenici su doktori, oni su ljekari naših duša.
And the pills and the medicine they give us is the holy body and blood of Christ instead of pills. You see, this is Orthodox
A umjesto
church.
pilula nam daju tijelo i krv.
Just a little joke and then we finish.
Još jedna mala šala završavam.
When I met Father Sophroni, you saw this photo. I took him, can I take a photo of you? He said no, because I have many photos. They show me who I am not. You know, these pictures look strange. But he was humble. He was immediately teaching me humility. He said, no, for Klaus it's important, not for me, that he can take a photo of me. So he took off the glasses. This is the picture I took of him.
Pitao sam oca Sofronija da li mogu da napravim sliku i on je rekao da mogu to da uradim jer je to važno za Klausa, ali ne za njega. I onda je on skinuo naočare i dozvolio mi je da ga slikam.
And I said, Father Sophroni, I don't know, I call him Herr Sophroni. Life is colorful, look, yellow, all these beautiful colors. Why are you dressed so black?
Ja sam pitao oca Sofronija, život je veseo i pun boja, zbog čega vi nosite crnu boju?
You might have heard this book of the Saint Silouan from Mount Athos. It's a very famous book. He was translating this book into French. That's why he was in Lausanne.
Možda se čuli za oca Siluana sa Svete Gore. On je trebalo da prevede knjigu na francuski, zbog toga je bio u Lozani, jer oni u tom dijelu Švajcarske govore francuski.
He took me to the window in the room. He opened the curtain. There was a boulevard down there. And said, look at the cars. Look at attentively the cars, Klaus.
Odveo me do prozora, sklonio je zavisu i rekao mi je, Klause, pogledaj auta koja prolaze.
I said, what does he want?
Pomislio sam šta on želi od mene.
Okay. Blue Volkswagen, a green Opel, a yellow Fiat,
plava, žuta, crvena auta, Mercedes, Volkswagen.
And he looked at me. He said, Klaus, which car did you like most?
Pitao me, Klause, koji auto ti se najviše
sviđa?
The
most elegant was the black Mercedes.
Najljepše je bio Mercedes, naravno.
That's why we are black, he said.
On je rekao, zbog toga smo mi u crnom. Da, crni. Gospodin Klaus je rekao da mu se najviše svidio crni Mercedes.
If there was no black Mercedes in this moment, you know, but Father Sophroni was a saint, so he knew there would be one.
Da, i onda sam pomislio kako je on mogao da zna da će biti crni Mercedes, ali otac Sofroni je bio svetac, naravno da je znao da će biti crni.
So I saw that man had humor. He was humorous.
I spoznao sam da taj čovjek
He
je
had
duhovit, da ima ljubavi u sebi.
He was not like a Pharisee, stiff.
Nije bio kao farisej tvrd.
When I came to his monastery, which he founded in 1959 in Essex, north of London.
Posjetio sam njegov manastir koji je osnovao 1959. u Essexu.
In Orthodoxy, you are important, not me.
U pravoslavlju ste vi bitni, ne ja.
Don't forget that you are important, not I. I don't want to preach you. I don't have to give you nothing.
Ne zaboravite da ste vi bitni, da ste vi najbitniji.
So Klaus knew that I'm a musician. I didn't bring a guitar. And next time, if we do it again, I will sing some rock and roll.
Gospodin Klaus je muzičar, on stalno nosi gitaru. Nažalost nije ponio ovaj put.
Father Sophrony said, bring your guitar, sing us your songs.
Otac Sofronije ga je pozvao da ponese gitaru i da im svira.
You try to do that on Mount Athos, it wouldn't work, I think.
Probajte to uradite na Atosu, mislim da vam neće uspjeti.
It's also Orthodox. It's
To je
not wrong.
također pravoslavlje, nije pogrešno.
I think Father Sophrony was a saint for the Western people.
Mislim da je otac Sofronije bio svetac za nas, ljude sa zapada.
So he was open, and I was playing rock and roll, and he was sitting there, and that was wonderful, you see.
Otac Sofronije razumio ljude sa zapada i bio je širokouman i želio je da gospodin Klaus svira za njega rock and roll.
So he knew my story, and then he gave me the blessing to publish it.
Da znao je moju priču i dao mi je blagoslov da napišem knjigu, da je objavim.
And I wanted to be baptized Orthodox. I asked the priest in Geneva, there is an Orthodox ecumenical center.
Krstio sam se u Ženevi, u pravoslavnoj crkvi, pravoslavnom centru.
The priest said no.
Ali me sveštenik odbio.
You have been baptized as a child, it's valid for all the churches, it's valid.
Već si kršten kao dijete i to je validno za sve crkve.
You get a chrismation oil, holy
Dobijete
oil, but
pomazanje.
not baptism.
Ali nema krštenja.
But I felt I need a real new beginning, totally, not.
Ali ja sam osjećao da moram da počnem iz početka, da se ponovo rodim.
I went back, asked Father Sophrony, that priest doesn't want to baptize me.
I rekao sam ocu Sofroniju da taj sveštenik ne želi da me krsti.
Father Sophrony said, do you want me to pray for that?
I otac Sofronij ga pitao da li želi da se pomoli
Yes, please,
za to.
yes, please.
Zamolio sam ga da uradi to.
But don't tell anybody that I pray for this. Just ask him next time.
Ali ne govori nikom da se molim za tebe, samo ga pitaj sljedeći put.
And next Saturday, when I saw the priest, he's by the way now bishop in Paris.
Sljedeće nedelje sam otišao do...
And yes, we can baptize you next Sunday. You see the power of prayer. It was a miracle.
Sljedeće nedelje sam otišao kod... what was the name of the priest? Jovan. On je patrijarh sada u Parizu i naravno da mi je dopustio da se krstim.
You see, Orthodoxy, I think I would be dead spiritually, maybe physically, without the holy liturgy every Sunday.
Vidite li šta radi pravoslavlje? Jer ja sam siguran da bih bez svete liturgije bio mrtav.
This morning I came into hospital.
Ovog jutra sam došao u bolnicu, u lečilište.
Dr. Nikolai was there waiting for us.
Otac Nikolaj, naš ljekar, nas je čekao.
And he gave me the medicine.
I dao nam je lijek.
And Father Sophrony gave me the medicine of the brojanica, Gospode Isuse Kriste, Sine Bože. You are the Sine Bože, you're not Buddha. You are not Allah. Muhammad, forget about, he was really, I think, a violent guy. But Sine Bože, Bože can have a Sine, can a son, yes.
Otac Sofronije mi dao brojanicu da se molim.
It's the highest name. It's the only name.
I gospodin Klaus je razmišljao kako je Muhammed bio pravi čovjek, ali je on bio veoma nasilan čovjek, ubijao je ljude. I onda razmišljao šta znači kada kažeš Gospod Isuse Hriste, Sine Božji.
The second part, Klaus, I'm under attack. I want to be violent, angry with the police, with everything. And then I go on my knees and say, pomiluj me.
A kada mi se desi da želim da budem nasilan, da se tučem sa policijom i kažem, Gospode, pomiluj me, spustim se na koljena.
How many times this morning in the church you said yourself or by the choir, Gospodi, pomiluj nas.
Koliko smo mi jutros puta pomenuli, Gospode, pomiluj.
Did you mean it or did you just say it? You see the difference?
Da li ste to zaista osjećali, mislili ili ste to samo rekli? Da li poznajete razliku?
If you just say it, maybe it's not wrong, but if you mean it, it's powerful.
Ako to samo kažete, to nije loše, ali ako to mislite, to je onda zaista moćno.
Now it's my joy for you, because I finish. But my joy also, when we have time with my wife Nikica, we can do the morning prayers together.
Ja uživam, a vjerovatno i vi uživate jer ja uskoro završavam, ali ja uživam kada se molim sa svojom suprugom ujutro.
I cannot go to communion when I do not the prayers. It's 10 pages, 11 pages in the book. It is so deep. I cannot take the communion without the prayers. You see, it's not a routine.
Ne mogu da se pričestim bez molitve.
This is Orthodoxy for me, and this is Orthodox for you. And this is the Holy Church giving us this.
I to je za mene jako važno u pravoslavlju, to je nešto što nam daje crkva, to je nešto što je za mene jako važno.
Catholics lost it.
Katolici su to izgubili.
Protestants made it, they cut half, they cut the saints, they cut the relics, because the Catholics were wrong, of course. They had to react, normal, to reform it, because it was deformed.
Protestanti su također pogrešni jer su izbacili pola stvari zbog toga što su katolici bili radili pogrešne stvari, pa su izbacili sve.
So the one thing I learned immediately from Orthodox is don't judge the Protestants, don't judge the others, don't judge Russia, don't judge Putin or Zelensky, judge yourself, Klaus.
A ono što sam ja prvo naučio u pravoslavlju je da ne treba da osuđujemo druge, da treba da gledamo sebe.
Then you go down.
A onda se spustite
you're not better than the others.
Jer shvatite da niste ništa bolji od ostalih.
And magically this way down is the way up.
I skroz magično je taj put na dolje u stvari put na gore. Vi se uzdižete.
You will understand why the people like yoga so much, because it avoids the way down. It avoids the way down. It's a lie. It's satanic yoga. Definitely. Get the people, when you don't have arguments, get this book. You will understand. I will understand you. Then we finish.
I razumijet ćete da yoga izbjegava to spoznanje sebe i taj put na dolje. I zbog toga je yoga demonska stvar. I ako ne znate kako da razgovarate sa nekim ko vas ubjeđuje da radite jogu, u ovoj knjizi ćete naći odgovore.
Again, why are we unhappy? Said before, why are we suffering? Why are we unhappy? Because it's the sin who unbalances us. It's the sin. It's our sin.
I u suštini svega zbog čega smo mi nesrećni je grijeh. Zbog grijeha mi nismo u balansu i nismo srećni.
And to admit our sin is very, very difficult.
A jako je teško da priznamo naše grijehe.
It's easy to say I'm a sinner.
Lako je da kažeš da si grešnik.
But really humility, this is a contrite heart. This is painful.
Ali sprava spoznaja i poniženje, to je pokajanje, to je jako teško.
And yoga doesn't care about that.
Ali yoga o tome ne misli.
If they do some exercises, morning greetings, evening star, no, you sit, you relax. Yes, it relaxes you. But it covers your sin. You will never see the reason and you will never be healed.
A ono što yoga radi je da se vi u stvari istežete i opuštate. I da, vi se zaista opuštate dok radite te poze, ali ono što yoga radi je također da maskira vaš grijeh.
This is why Hinduism and yoga with all these fantasies avoid to see who you really are, and that's why it has so much success all over yoga now.
Yoga je toliko popularna baš zbog tih stvari jer izbjegava odgovornost i sakriva grijeh.
I love you. Thank you very much.
Sve vas volim, hvala vam puno.
Now I accept. Before it was dangerous because I didn't know. So, have you any questions? Otherwise,
ako neko ima pitanja za gospodina Klausa, molim vas neka pita.
Is a question? Yes. Otherwise, if somebody wants, I give you a personal signature in the book. And remember again, it's for you. You can do evangelization Orthodox way with this book. Give it to people for Easter. Make it a gift. The money goes to Dulivo. This is not my money.
Treba da znate da kogod se odluči da uzme knjigu, bit će lični potpis i posvete gospodina Klausa i treba da znate da se pomaže manastir kupovinom ove knjige, da ništa ne ide gospodinu Klausu.
If St. Peter and Paul, you need it more, I give it to you.
Ako sveti...
It costs money anyway, it costs money. But help me and get the book and give it to the people. Trt mi lojko. Yes, sorry.
Molim vas, pitajte ga vi.
One question, then we'll let you go. Listen, there's a question.
Poštovanje za gospodina.
You translate it, it's a question.
Please tell. Reci slobodno, bo ja ću mu prevesti.
Poštovanje za njega, poštovanje što je došao i priredio ovakav jedan fin razgovor. Sam interesuje.
It is great honor to have you here today, and he just wants to know one thing.
Ako je već toliko vjera promijenio i ako je već vidio šta u svijetu se dešava, zašto je baš došao na ideju da ostane u hrišćanstvu? Zašto nije Gospodu vjerovao, nego ga je samo ispitivao? Jer Gospod u svojim psalmima, u svojim zapovijestima kaže: onaj koji za mnom hodi, samo neka mi vjeruje, a neka me ne ispita.
Možeš li samo izvini polako da bih mogao da mu prevedem?
Question, just a
Yeah,
question.
sure. So he was basically he was asking, why were you seeking all the time? Why didn't you just trust the Lord the first time? Because he mentions in his psalm
Because
that
the priest was
zbog sveštenika koji ga je odgurao od hrišćanstva jer ga je zlostavljao ga je prvih 7 godina njegovog života.
But maybe God knew that those who love God, I mean, I didn't love God, but who seek really, everything turns out to be for the good. That I can talk to you today about these things.
Ali svi znaju da se na kraju sve uz Božji plan, da sve se na kraju vrati na dobro i zbog toga loše što se meni desilo, ja sam tu danas da govorim
Authentically and not by theoretical book knowledge.
sa iskrenim i stvarnim stvarima, a ne samo nekom teorijom iz knjige.
I interesuje me samo da li mu je neko možda nekad objasnio zašto kod sveštenika u našem hrišćanstvu i pravoslavnoj vjeri postoje ljudi koji nose bradu i da li je nekad se to raspitivalo u vezi toga?
He wants to know, do you know why some monks have a beard in Orthodoxy and some don't?
He has not yet the beard, but I think it's to copy a bit the model, I think. I don't really the answer, but I know many Orthodox priests, they have no beard also.
Gospodin Klaus nije siguran, zna da mnogi
It's not a
sveštenici
must.
nemaju bradu jer to nije neophodno.
It's not a must.
Nije neophodno.
I had a beard myself once, and I think very often, if I had a beard, I look too much Orthodox, many people would not listen to me anymore.
Gospodin Klaus je nekad imao bradu i...
So I'm an evangelist in jeans maybe somehow, but contents is the same.
Gospodin Klaus kaže da on ne želi da pušta bradu jer bi možda tada liči na pravoslavca, onda ga dosta ljudi ne bi slušalo. Šta ima da kaže?
So anybody want the signature? Oh, more questions?
Ne, samo bismo, eto ovako u ime svih ovdje nas prisutnih i našega bratstva da se zahvalimo
We would like to thank you very much.
I ovo je jedan poklon našega bratstva i Sveti Ilija sa jednim pismom, saltirom i tako da, eto, mali znak za zahvalnosti za...
This is gift from our monastery and our brotherhood. It's our hoodie and also New Testimony and Saint Ilya.
Yes. So I'm part of you, of your
Yes,
family
you're
now.
part of our brotherhood.
With pleasure. Thank you.
Can you please
Yes. Okay, so I will sign here in medieval ones. Take these books. Take them out. Take them somewhere that the people can grab them.
Ajde, zaustavi ovo, a?